I feel compelled to make this statement video. And what I'd like to bring up for people is in regard to serious inquiry, or even forget serious, just inquiry. People that think about shit like I do. I think about stuff all the time, and things that don't make sense, I kind of mull over, and if it's of interest to me because I think it's important, I kind of go into it. I may delve into it more in some areas than other areas. And what happens to me as a person isn't just the idea of what I have said coming up with the truth at the end of it, which is terrific. Truth is fabulous if it emerges in an inquiry, if you're seriously searching in yourself and out there. And I've always said that the internal search, the inner work, is priority to the external. The external reflects our internal. And if the external is dysfunctional on a general collective level, the internal is dysfunctional on a fundamental level. That's what I'm saying. And unless this work is done, this inner work that I talk about, and inquiry is part of that, to have questions about things. And what I've noticed recently, even among people that I like in the community of those souls of conscience who've understood the seriousness of Fukushima and the criminal syndicate that runs these plants, who want to dupe us into continuing this idiotic, crazy, stupid lie of cheap, safe, and clean. None of it is true, which is part of my inquiry. I ended up understanding the flaw, the fundamental flaw behind this industry. But here's my point. Primarily because I give the inner world, my own questioning of myself, priority. So, this is in reference to people talking about flat Earth. And I'm not out saying the Earth is flat or a ball or an oblate or a square and the astronauts landed on the goddamn moon. I actually believe if there is a sphere out there called the moon, probably activity, on some level, I'm not sure. But the boys, the way NASA tells us, didn't go there. I guarantee my inquiry into this is definitive that these people did not go on the technology that they say they had, they went with. So all you bashers of people that ask questions about the anomalies, it's fundamentally it demands, our inner world demands these questions, especially when there are anomalies in the answers, in the narrative, in the fairy tales that we're supposed to believe when we go through school, and all the shit that's being told us. And what is one of the most fundamental notions that you never, ever ask is the nature of the reality of the physical world that we live in, because this is a reality that is imposed on us when we're children, and we end up laughing if anybody questions that. Where else do you hear that? Where else are people laughing? Oh, nuclear is a hoax. You're another one of those doomers, those gloomers. Oh, yeah, well, it's all a big joke. Okay, so you can dismiss the seriousness of people like that, but then if there is an inquiry on anomalies, like what is the nature of our Earth, our reality, what is behind what makes us fundamentally, and the way we get there is doing an inner search. An inner battle has to be fought. And I'm more than happy to comply with the external reality that has been created, that we create, if it makes sense. If it makes sense. And if in fact the Earth is what we are told by the people who tell us that nuclear is clean, safe, and cheap. These are the people that are also telling us the Earth is a ball. And fundamentally, I've had a few little back and forths about the Earth is a ball stuff. And the whole level, water finds its level. So, oh yeah, but the Earth is so big, you can't really see like level. Yeah, it feels level, but it's really curved. Well, water doesn't act that way. Maybe if you pour it in a glass, water takes the shape of the glass. But if it sits on a surface, it finds its own level. I am saying, why is the sea level and not curved? That's all. And then you hear this great invocation. See, I'm pissed off because this is the trouble with people who want to ridicule those that are not compliant with their beliefs. And belief is in big capital letters because that's what it is. Because no one has any real proof other than fabricated pictures and Photoshop pictures of shit. So this is how we undermine each other. Stop doing it. Do your own research instead of just dogmatizing the rest of the world with something that you have no interest in questioning. I'm not saying you have to question it, but I feel compelled to wonder about the nature of our reality because it's all been a big hoax right from the get, right back to what is supposed to be Egypt and Akhenaten and the fucker that took over the running the show way back when. And we're all like, oh yeah, there's somebody that really is brilliant and he knows. And a direct line to the omnipotent being. They all have the direct line to the omnipotent being, like NASA has the omnipotent being behind them. They're just Akhenatans, like the whole rest of them that have come before them. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not definitive on the structure of the universe as we experience it, or even just our own Earth, is still up for grabs for me because we've been lied to so much. We've been lied to. We've been lied to. And when I'm ridiculed for asking questions, I get pissed off with people that are supposedly on my side. Which means that you can't have it just one way. It has to be a level playing field. And until the anomalies are cleared up, there is an open book here. It's not finished. And to laugh at someone for saying, yes, this book is open on the nature of our reality, you're going to tell me that gravity is responsible for the way water acts on this earth, and you don't even have a clue what the hell gravity is. No one has ever been able to explain gravity, and you get into these fancy equations that mathematicians love. They're living in their own little bubble world of mathematics. They can create dimensions right through the wazoo. There are as many dimensions as there are atoms in brain cells. That's how many dimensions there are in reality, and more likely, yes than not. How many dimensions? We function in 3 with 4 as time is 4, and they've got 7 and 10 and 11 and 12 dimensions. Well, I have news for you. Maybe there are infinite number of dimensions in the reality that I'm wondering about. And whether the earth is a ball or a flat is irrelevant within that kind of format of inquiry. But nonetheless, I live on a planet I eat, I enjoy, I absolutely indulge and love the mystery that we're in. And I'm not going to kiss off on this mystery just because somebody's dogma is confronted. This is the nature of our being. So pick your fight, but stop being laughers. Stop laughing and bashing people that have serious inquiries. And just to finish off my little expose, what I'd like to say. As history has shown us, we evolve through an understanding of ourselves. We evolve through discovering how this mystery that we are a part of unravels. And the biggest mistake is certainty, because uncertainty is the higher state of being. This may sound hard to understand, but uncertainty is actually a greater complement to our nature than certainty. So anything that ridicules uncertainty is suspect to me. That's what I'm trying to say. And serious inquiry is just a tool. Inquiry, and forget serious, just questioning is part of it. And people say, well, once you definitively know, I guarantee on the level of taking people seriously, like I'm not talking about fruitcakes and nutbags that are out just questioning, whatever it might be, why Jello jiggles. And that might even be interesting too, but anything that is insignificant, but where it matters, the idea of serious people having questions should not be dismissed just because it doesn't fit into the dogma that you might be a proponent of, because that's all it is for the most part. It's dogma. And I'm not bringing up trivial subjects just because I feel like it. I feel myself engaged with many souls on this planet who are really disturbed by the dysfunction, and to continue the dysfunction by ridicule and laughter is not the way. And until you definitively know 100% proof, which by the way is going to be very difficult based on how complex this mystery is, shut the fuck up. That's what I say. It really bothers me because it's kind of like that bull in the china shop feeling. You know, it's like we gain on the one side. We begin to trust ourselves because we're sure about something. And whether or not nuclear was a good idea in its present incarnation, it isn't. Doesn't mean it can't be. Yeah, really, I'm saying it doesn't mean it can't be. But under its present function, it doesn't work. I'm not saying it couldn't work. I'm saying it doesn't work because the technology is so flawed. It doesn't mean there is some kind of aspect to it that may in some form or other be functional. And to disparage and discard questions that come from, now pay attention to this, come from individuals that you believe to be of sincerity and honesty, and to come and just throw yourself with formulas of conventional thought is not productive. It doesn't work that way. We need to embrace each other on the level that I have asked for, the level of honesty. And truth can take a sideline. And whoever is right and wrong will sort itself out, but not through ridicule and laughter. To say, oh, I know so much more. You know, it's like the glass house idea. There is always a level of deeper and deeper and deeper knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. It's something that I have actually understood by knowing of people who are so profoundly in touch with their reality, having met the inner obligation, and their external and their inner world are a lot more one than there are apart, which is why we're dysfunctional as people, because we can't combine the inner and the external world. We can't seem to make them fuse. It's not working. It has nothing to do with the shit we're facing with in terms of the dysfunction, the psychopaths, the reptiles, the vultures that are running the show because we let them. It's because we haven't done the internal work, and I keep seeing it come out when people are being ridiculed for having serious commentary questions, in this case on YouTube, but just generally. People were ridiculed. Vincent van Gogh was the most ridiculed artist, probably in the history of art. I'm sure I'm missing people, but he was right up there. And look what happened, right? I'm just warning people not to be so goddamn dogmatic about anything. And if you feel like you want to be that way, just drop it. Just drop it. Let people have their questions. Allow people, allow the vulnerable people, like children, to have their questions without hammering and bashing them, because we ultimately have this lively inner world is vulnerable. So stop attacking it. That's all I'm on. That's it.